I'm Serena, a security consultant with QuirkTree. Welcome to our updated Mac device security series, now refreshed for macOS 26, known as Tahoe. We built this course for everyday professionals who rely on their Macs to do business, but don't necessarily have an in-house IT department or need to manage some or all of the security settings on their devices. This intended audience includes Mac users, or end users as we commonly refer to them, who are working through the process of securing their device either for the first time or in the process of an annual device security review. It also includes business management who are making decisions about organizational device security policies. Regardless of what industry you work in, end user devices are the gateways to your organization's data. Most people know they should secure the data itself, but the devices that access that data are often left vulnerable, and attackers know it. These aren't just theoretical threats. They're active vulnerabilities being exploited by attackers right now. In January of 2025, Microsoft revealed a macOS vulnerability that let attackers bypass SIP, or System Integrity Protection, to install malware at a deep level in devices. Apple patched it, but only after the risk had become real. And in 2024, security researchers discovered over 20 new malware families targeting Macs, including info stealers and backdoors like CloudChat, PieStealer, and Beavertail. And it isn't just digital attacks that we have to worry about. In the last 2 years, more than 3/4 of businesses in the US and Europe have experienced device theft. And a stolen device doesn't just mean the loss of that one device. It potentially means a lost or exposed data set, breach notifications, legal fees, and regulatory fines. In 2020, Rhode Island-based Lifespan Health System agreed to pay over $1 million to settle HIPAA violations after one unencrypted laptop was stolen from an employee's car. The laptop contained the protected health information of over 20,000 patients. The investigation found that the organization had determined that device encryption was reasonable and appropriate in their internal policies, but they had failed to implement it. And that's just the risk of physical loss. Even if your Mac never leaves your desk, your device is still the most likely place an attack will start. Most experts agree that around 90% of successful cyber attacks start on end-user devices through phishing clicks, malicious downloads, unpatched software, stolen credentials, and more. And if you work remotely, your exposure is even higher for a host of reasons. And for many businesses, device security awareness isn't just a good idea kind of best practice, it's a requirement. Regulations like HIPAA, PCI DSS, and state privacy laws explicitly require that devices used to access or store sensitive data be secured, and that you can demonstrate due diligence if asked. When you are the one maintaining some or all of the security controls on one of those devices, you want to feel confident that you've done everything reasonable to protect it. That's why this series is designed to help you defend against both technical compromise like malware and ransomware, and physical compromise like the loss or theft of a device. Together, those two account for the vast majority of real-world incidents. Even if you're not actively storing sensitive data on your particular device, say if you store most of your data in the cloud somewhere, you still have an obligation to secure the device that you use to access that cloud data. It's almost impossible for cloud data to stay entirely removed from your device. Every time you download a PDF, open an invoice, or view a document, it often ends up in a cache or local folder on your device. In addition, your devices have gateways to that sensitive data that is stored elsewhere. When you log into a website, cookies or session tokens are saved locally on the device to keep you logged in. These digital breadcrumbs offer an attacker a gateway to your sensitive data if they are captured. If someone with the right access gets a hold of them because your device is missing, stolen, compromised by malware, or left with unpatched vulnerabilities, they would offer attackers a path straight to your sensitive data. In this series, we're going to close those gaps. We'll turn on File Vault full disk encryption so that if your Mac is ever lost or stolen, the data stays scrambled and useless to an attacker. We'll make sure software updates happen automatically so vulnerabilities get patched before attackers can exploit them. We'll review cloud syncing settings so regulated data doesn't leak out to iCloud. We'll enable Find My Device so you can locate, lock, or erase a missing device. We'll put inactivity locks in place so nobody can just walk up and use your machine. We'll enable the firewall, review the anti-malware tools that macOS runs quietly in the background, and talk through how to evaluate a major OS upgrade before you install. The settings we highlight are not the only ones that affect the security of your device, but they are the ones that are going to give you the most protection for your time investment. They're going to mitigate the vast majority of the most common risks for end-user devices and the data accessible through them. And keeping them maintained lessens the likelihood of a breach or an incident through something like malware, ransomware, or physical loss. Managing a device securely requires upfront work to secure default settings, along with a small amount of periodic ongoing maintenance, like installing software updates and keeping up backups. However, the time is well spent with a great deal of return in terms of risk mitigation in the long run.